There we are. We back? I got nothing here. Oh boy. Hopefully we're gonna have everybody here pretty soon. Is it
Clay's
back
gonna have
now?
to.
There we go. I don't know what's going on tonight. I guess the gremlins they're
Are
taking
they?
they're taking their toll on us.
Clay's gonna make me go cold turkey, no pun intended. Hi, Lynette. Evening, Whitman. Thanks for joining us.
So as we start out each and every show, we are going to start out the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Like I said, nothing more important than them 27 words. So
couldn't agree with you more. That's one of the reasons we're doing this.
So I guess, how was your weekend last weekend and week?
Well, last weekend of deer season, we seen quite a few deer. My buddy Trav and I were up. We saw some nice ones, but it just wasn't the one he wanted. I tried to convince him to.
Hey, Shiloh.
I tried to convince him a little bit on one, and then the one that he passed on 2 days earlier. That was our target one. But
that's okay.
But we didn't. The last day we seen him, he was way too far away. We never got close to him. We did see a couple other nice ones, which I got some video of it, and eventually I'm going to get it all put together in one, and I'll put it up on the website and YouTube and Facebook. But yeah, saw a lot of, like I told you, New York deers next year. And why a lot of next year, if they do make it, it's going to be it's going to be nice. We saw a lot of deer. It's awesome. I mean, I love having that many deer out there, and I'm gonna go out Friday again and try and get some more video stuff. And I do have a crossbow tag yet, so if the one we were after comes close,
awesome.
Next Wednesday I might be telling you a story about a little crossbow kill. So
that'd be great.
Harvest.
Harvest. Definitely got to get up there and do some videoing with you. I've learned one thing going out, that it's a lot better if you have a cameraman that's all he's doing.
Yeah, I would say too, Clay and I got the Sony Handycam, and that thing is so hard to see that screen. So if anybody knows anybody looking to sponsor some live streamers who need a decent camera, I mean, hey, put them in touch. we love it.
Speaking of our sponsors, we want to thank Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308, and The Blind Guy. Contact them at 701-222-3932 or hit them up at their website, blindguynd.com. We can't do it without great sponsors like them guys, and we appreciate them.
Absolutely. They make life a lot easier. Hey, Brian, good evening to you. I was going to say, when you came on, I sent your leather can koozie out yesterday morning. So I was just curious, too, if you're related to Adam Warner, because I run into them guys in Golden Valley all the time. So
maybe probably a small world.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty close.
So I got to say, I had some success. Remember, I told you if I didn't see something big, I wasn't really going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I did. I pulled the trigger. And
one.
I happened to get
beautiful buck. That is a beautiful buck. I like that, man. That's pretty heavy too. I like that.
Really heavy, and that's a nice mule deer anywhere, really.
Yeah. Beautiful animal.
Went about 160. If he had that other point, he was shy a point.
Yep.
I know that Eric really thought that he probably would have went over 170, 171. There's one all the field for you tag Nazis. I did tag him. I took the picture right away. I didn't even gut him, if you can see. I just got out there and got a picture. Had my full orange on. And funny thing is I shouldn't brag, but it wasn't even a hunt. Sometimes you got to get lucky.
Hey, I mean, wish we would have the last weekend, but it's.
I mean, I was out doing chores, feeding cows, and my neighbor come over. He's, hey, there's a nice buck down there in your tree row. I go, really? I hadn't seen this buck. I mean, I pretty much knew all the bucks on the place, and I had no clue where this one come from. But you know what? After I got done, I thought, what the heck? I'll go give it a whirl. I grabbed my orange, grabbed all my stuff. Of course, the trusty 270.
God, you were safe.
What's that?
Thank God you were safe.
Yes, thank goodness I was safe, right? and went down. I thought, I'll throw the camera in, and I got out, and I mean, I did everything you could to give this deer a chance, you could say, 'cause I did everything wrong. Slammed the door, went to the other side. He was he was looking right at me with his nose. Set
Yeah.
up the camera. I thought this will be great, and hit the button and went over and laid down in front. Took aim and just waited till I got a decent shot, and there we go. He went about maybe 100 feet because I didn't have a broadside, so I knew I
Mhm.
had to take some long shots low because I didn't want to wreck that cape, and
Yep.
worked out pretty good. And long story short, when I got back to the house after everything was taken care of, evidently my camera was running. I must have bumped it when I set it up, and when I hit the button, I turned it off. So
Oh,
I got
no.
nothing.
Oh, no.
But
Oh,
no,
yeah, so
it's a nice deal. I'm having it mounted. My official Iraq's Adventure Team taxidermy, Grizz's taxidermy. Free plug for you, Eric. Does a great job. So
awesome. Yeah, we had a couple right about midday there, and, I was about Trav was actually we were sitting in the blind, and I looked over and I seen a tree eating varmint over there, otherwise known as a porcupine. "Hey, Kevin, how you doing?" "You're welcome, Brian." And Trav had the camera on me, and I was look back to say something to him, and I look about 200 yards, 180 yards away. There's four muley does and two bucks, and I here, take your 308. Well, we were looking, and then we knew there was a wide one in there, and
yeah,
he kind of stepped out, and then I looked at him. I said, "You're gonna shoot? You better do it, because he's right by the neighbor's fence." Well, then he's like, "I think he's too whippy," and well, he jumped the fence, and then he got up on a little hill there, and he's like, "Oh my God." And I said, "Too late. He's on the neighbors now." Then the other one came out, which I said, I got some good video. He come walking right towards us he come within about 40 yards. And when I get this video edited, it'll be pretty fun to watch. But,
good. That'll be looking forward to seeing that.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Hey, thanks, Keith, up there in Bismarck. Glad you're tuning in tonight. Hey, I don't know. Keith came down here and tried a little hunting here with his kids a couple of years ago. He's a North Dakota resident now, so I haven't seen him this year. Maybe he didn't get a tag, but there was some nice ones even on your relatives' land running around there, Keith. A couple times I seen them. So anytime you want, bud, come on down. Of course, now you can't. Season's closed. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unless he's got a bow tag, but
yeah, and Eric, he says I'm an armature filmer.
I'd
I
fall
think
into
he
that
means
same
amateur.
category. I'm pretty sure I know what he's talking. Yeah.
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 Speaking of that, as long as we're on this subject, Eric said to film my wife and daughter getting a double, and you can see the bullet going through there and hit the deer. That's going to be really, really cool.
That's
Well,
awesome.
he sent us some pictures, so I
Yep.
decided to grab one. Check this out, and it was like 5 minutes apart. They just both took them, and you got to congratulate Charity and Prairie.
Yeah. Big bodies
They're
there. Big
big
bodies. I
bodied
remember
South
beautiful
Dakota
deer.
mule deer. I'm not sure Eric
Awesome.
can tell us if it was public land deer. I know he hunts a lot of public land, but I
Mhm.
mean, that was awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
Danelle's watching.
Hey,
My
thanks for
wife,
supporting the
everybody.
show, Danelle. I
There
appreciate
we go.
that.
Now you got to get Kim on there, Jamie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, her and the girls are upstairs. Don't get me started. Yeah, but so other people up there though, I put them on our Facebook page actually. Serena Funk, she's part owner of the bar at the Saddle Sore in Golden Valley. She got a nice deer on Wanner's land, and Jake Wilmers, both of them got their first mule deers ever. Serena's body on that thing just looked like a big freaking heifer. It's huge, nice, big. It's actually bigger than the picture shows too. The antlers, but
Okay.
and Jake got himself a nice one, first one he ever got too. And man, they were both jacked up, which they should have been. It was awesome. It was a good atmosphere in the bar that night talking about it, and it's a lot of success this year, even with the snow like that. I mean, it's going to save a lot of deer if you got enough private land and they stay on it like ours. It's going to save the deer like the bucks for next year. Like I said, there's a lot of New Yorks, and I'm sure some people are disappointed they didn't get a buck. But I mean, next year, man, there's going to be, if something doesn't get them, like a couple big storms, we're going to have some. We're going to have some nice deer up there.
Well, even I went out and did a little video and took some pictures. I put some of that up on the YouTube channel, and he's a 4x5 basically. 4x4. I mean, I don't count that 1 point. And he was just laying there out there in the grass line between the hayfield and the farming ground on the neighbors there, and that's going to be a nice deer. thing is, he's on the South Dakota side. They got another week, so hopefully he'll run just a little bit north and go stay in my trees for another year.
Right. Lay low. I know that's what I'd always say to him. I'm like, stay in the sanctuary, stay in the sanctuary.
Well, and he was young. I mean, I could see he was young. You can't see it with the pictures, but then when I went out there and got my spotting scope out there and kind of walked down and looked, I'm telling you, that's a young deer, and he's got some good genetics. If he can make it another year or two, he's going to be like that guy I took.
So speaking of that, I'm probably going to tick off some people, but one of the things that really eats me up about hunting is you get to the end of the season, well, I'm going to do this. I got to get some meat for the pot and feed the family. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. And if you get out, look, if you're a new hunter, you're a young kids like to, I'm fine with that. Young kids like to go out and kill something a couple years. Or if you're like some old person, you never know if you're going to make another hunting season. Yeah, I saw that. It's Landon, he said.
Yeah, that's actually my son, guys, Landon.
Okay, yeah. But anything in between there, if you're hunting and you just get out and think you got to shoot some meat for the pot, if you're an experienced hunter, I mean, honestly, what's the pride in doing that? You go in there and get some dink that was a young deer, would have been nice next year. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that sort of thing. And I mean, if you're mad at me, I'm sorry. No, actually, I'm not sorry because I mean it. You don't have to do that. And if all you want to do is get meat for the pot, get yourself a doe, because you can get a doe tag every freaking year, because you're not going to mount some 4x4 dink as big around as my pinky. Why would you shoot that? Why would you? Like I said, unless you're a really young person, first time, second time hunter, or an old person who thinks you might not have too many hunting seasons left in you, I understand that. But otherwise, I see there's no reason for that.
What I don't get, especially when I started, when I moved up to North Dakota and become a resident, started hunting North Dakota, you guys, at least a gratis tag, I can take anything I want. Kind of like in South Dakota, when you applied back when I was in South Dakota, you applied for any deer, at least in Carson County, or any whitetail deer. And the other tags were any antlerless. So that allowed you, if you drew that any deer or any whitetail deer, and so I got towards the end of the season and I'm just looking for meat for the freezer, I didn't have to take a buck. I could go and take out a nice juicy doe. Well, I get up here to North Dakota and you got to apply for buck only. It's like, what in the hell? That don't even make sense from a management position. I can tell you this, from managing deer here or starting to get things going on this place the last few years, that makes zero sense to me. Yeah, if you want to take out the management bucks, like I got that 3x2 out here. By the way, Eric, I guess he was spotted again. So if you have your South Dakota tag, we might have to track him down. Otherwise, we'll go after him with a bow. But you want to take bad genetics like that out so they don't keep spreading. He's never going to be more than that. But when you got nice deer or something that might be good, like you said, the New York deer next year, why wouldn't you leave him and take a doe? But North Dakota.
What if I don't get drawn next year? Well, then you don't, because now you would have a dink, and what good does that do you?
Yeah,
I got my meat. Believe me, pork tastes better. So, Waylon Turner, I absolutely agree with you. Thanks, Waylon. That's just something about hunting that just burns me. I just don't get it.
Well, one thing I did notice when I was out and about this year, the road hunters after the snow came were atrocious. That's another thing. If you're going to hunt, now granted, I got a nice one really easy this time, but that isn't the norm. The other two I've taken in the last 3 years, I had to work my hiney off for them. You get out of your pickup and walk, for Christ's sakes. I watched one guy. I wish I could have found him. I seen him off in the distance there, but he was way the hell over there. He was in the government ground walking, which I admired him. He parked his pickup out of the way. He was on the government. If I could have got to him, I'd have said, keep going. You go ahead and hunt mine. He earned it. And, but I just never he was going the other direction. I never saw him. So he went back far in there in that government ground, and my hat off to him, because that snow was deep. I didn't graze it down to nothing this year. And when it snowed, it caught in that nice tall grass. So I can tell you right now, that's going to be a nice pasture next year. And I don't plan to graze it down next year. I want to see that stuff. And it's twofold. I'm a hunter. I'm a rancher, but I'm also a hunter.
Yeah. Which, no, you guys don't care about anything. So I'm left.
No, we're just greedy and
just
horrible
profits.
people. And
yeah. I will say one thing about Trav not failing his take. We were on a damn near the complete opposite end of that pasture, and I was like, man, because it's like that. It was like a foot and a half deep everywhere, and it was that the wind hit it, so every step you took, you broke through. And man, that would have been a hell of a pullback. We'd have been wore out. Yeah, I like this. I like the comments there for sure.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. We shot one back when my father-in-law was alive, and way back over there. You're right, buddy. Hunters forever, guys. That's Landon under my wife's account. I wasn't gonna drag him back, and neither was my father-in-law. So we took the front wheel assist out there and picked him up.
Hey, just because you're a hunter doesn't mean you got to kill yourself getting your game. I mean,
that's right.
You know,
I was like, well, we can't get the pickup out there, so we just hopped in the tractor, and we have. You know what? When you're the landowner, you can do that.
So we got. Go ahead, Clay. You got something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, and honestly, if I had a guy hunting on my place and he did the same thing and come and found me, I'd drive out there for him and get it because I'm not hurting nothing driving through that deep snow,
right?
And it kind of hurries the process along, which is also good. So
I did get. I'll tell you what. Let's do an obscene profits time out and come back, and I'll tell you some other varmint story real quick, and let's go into some mounting options. What you plan on doing with the meat and whatnot?
Sounds good. All right, guys. Here's a word from our sponsors.
You bet. Lauer Auto Repair, 309 South Washington Street. That's right here in Bismarck. Doug and the boys, that's a pro Second Amendment shop. Anybody out watching this show is pro Second Amendment. You don't want to give your money to somebody who's not pro Second Amendment. They might be nice people. They might run a good shop. Doug and his boys run a great shop. They treat you right, fair pricing. They get your job done quick, and you know it's going to a pro Second Amendment shop. Deer season coming up. Get that hunting rig in there. Get that baby tuned up. Doug will get that thing humming like a kitten for you, and you can go through, and all you got to worry about is filling that tag and getting that big buck.
Guns in the 701 is sponsored by The Blind Guy of North Dakota. For all your custom window coverings, you can contact them at 701-222-3932. They're freedom-minded, they're patriotic, and they love the Second Amendment. This husband-wife team was born and raised right here in North Dakota and based out of Bismarck. Again, for your Second Amendment company, for all your custom window coverings, The Blind Guy of North Dakota, 701-222-3932, or visit them on the web at blindguynd.com. All right. Yeah, once again.
Yeah.
We want to thank our sponsors. They're great. They support us and support what we're doing.
And if you guys do business with them, please mention to them that you heard the ad here on Guns on the 701 and you appreciate them supporting pro Second Amendment, pro civil rights shows like this. So, I mean, they'll appreciate hearing that, and it's only gonna help us out and keep them on board with us. But hey, Doug and boys at Lauer, next week I'm gonna have to get together with Clayton. We're gonna have to do a little different voiceover. Deer season's over, so we'll figure something else out for that. But still take it in there. I mean, you can still hunt, but coyotes, you still need that thing running good.
That's right. And I'll show you this, guys. This is from I took from the video you took, Jamie.
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of cool.
That's a Blind Guy's trailer right there.
Yeah, you guys. That's what I was gonna say. It was a Blind Guy's trailer. Wyatt and your crew were up there having some fun hitting pheasants, and by the looks of the video, not hitting some.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fun.
Tammy. I mean, I'm not picking on you, but So, okay, hold on. Let's read Bill V here.
It is. Shot numerous deer where snowmobiles the only way to get them in and out 3 miles from the closest road. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I must have both the boys on there tonight. Check
that
out.
People tell me
take away our freedom.
He's trying. Ain't for lack of trying. I had numerous people tell me that about snowmobiles, but I'll promise you, as deep as that snow was, and there's huge rocks out in our pasture, you would wreck your machine in short order. Yeah. I mean, I wish we could, but so anyways, real quick before we move on here, Clay, we got back from this hike and we got in the hunting shack. And I told you I took out that tree eater there out on the other end. So I look, and here's a porcupine. I said, Trav, you're not going to believe this. There's a porcupine out here walking across a huge snowdrift. So I go, give me your 308, because there wasn't any deer around. And I tried to range them. As closest I get was 460. So I shot and held where I thought, and I was low. So the next one I held higher, and I shot over the top. And then I ranged them again. I'm like, he's got to be at 500. And then guess what? The old 308, the old junk cartridge that nobody wants anymore, drilled a little porcupine there at 500. He didn't take another step.
The old junk cartridge.
Yep.
I think that's funny.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a 6.5 Creed guy now, but that 308 is still, I mean, Trav was just, I mean, that thing will just shoot dimes for you. It's awesome. Well, I got a video of him actually. Remember, I 400 yards,
Yep.
and I videoed him, put the thing on my phone scope, and he center punch that sucker at 400. But
hey,
what do you got?
Kevin says he's got a handicap exemption.
Hey,
that's okay.
That's fine with me. That's fine with me. That's
we've actually.
I don't even know. I don't think Pennsylvania actually has deer as big. I mean, Midwest. I mean,
it's
in some
not
parts
like
of
ours.
the country, right? They have smaller deer in some parts. I'm not sure, but
I know that Kevin actually had a picture on the chat over on Telegram with guns in the 701. I think that was his nephew that he took with a bow. Now that was a huge deer. That was a nice deer. I guess I should have found that picture and put up here too, but that was a while ago.
Mm-hmm. So Clay, let's talk a little mounts here. What do you plan on doing? Like, are you doing a full head, right? You're doing a full head on that one? Because I would.
Just going to toss him on the pile.
Take the screw out and drill them to your shop door.
No. Yeah, I'm going to do a full shoulder on him. No, my plan is I caped it out. I think I did a fair job. I know that I got a good taxidermist. Eric fixes all my mistakes. So I got it all caped out. Made sure that we got the everything, the brains and all that out. We have to do an extra step here in my area because of the fake CWD precautions, even though they're not stopping.
How'd you say that? Do it again.
The fake CWD precautions.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
From Game and Fish Mismanagement. Anyway, we got that done, and then we happened to be in town. That Rax Adventure team that I'm also part of. We had some guys up from Alabama that are part of the team, and they were doing some hunting. So we had supper in there, and it just happened Eric was coming over with his family and worked it with him and sent it on its way. So basically, I think it's very important, and I know Eric will tell you the same thing. It's very important to get that skin off as soon as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it wasn't as bad now that it got a little cooler out, but it's easier to take it off, and it's not going to spoil. Now, the first week, if you didn't get that hide off of there within 30, 40 minutes, I bet you could have actually seen some slippage in that cape. But I'm going to see if I sent Eric here a message. I want to see if Eric is going to be able to join us next week, and maybe we can have Eric actually go more in depth on what you should be doing. But the basics are is get that thing off as fast as you can so it can cool off. Try to get as much meat off of it as you can. So it takes a little bit longer skinning it, and get it to your taxidermist. He says, hey, yeah, don't freeze them to the pickup, though. I didn't even think about it. I threw it in the back of the pickup and headed to town when I was done. And I froze that darn thing to the pickup.
So I'll tell you what we do with that now. I always buy like a cheap tarp at Menards and I throw it down. I mean, it saves getting a bunch of blood in the box of your mule or your Ranger, whatever you got. I got a mule because they're better. And their services. But yeah, and your pickup same. So put Kevin's comment up here. We were talking about big deer in Pennsylvania before I get on to something else here. So yeah, big ones were rare, but they started the 3 on one side law. Now we have some nice sized bucks in PA. Okay. Awesome.
Okay, so they've actually got a point system out there. And I've seen that with mixed reviews. The reservation down here has a point system. I think it's got to be 3 points or better.
Yeah, it does, because they started getting a bunch of 3x3s down there instead of that.
And like I said, you got that 3x2, and I don't know how they do it out in Pennsylvania, but out here, we kind of talk about a 3-point is a 3x3, right?
Yeah, I don't think they do that over there. I think that's a Midwest thing.
So, the 4-point system, I guess I don't know where that actually stands, or the 3-point. I've never looked at it because, well, I never take anything small anyway. I either shoot a doe or I don't take one unless it's big.
So let's talk about, if you're not going to full mount it, let's talk about your other options here. Like if you're going to Euro mount it or horn mount it. What I like to do now is I get the skull cleaned. You know, a lot of people boil it off themselves or whatever, and I actually I saw these skull hookers before, and I didn't think much about them or pay much attention. But when I went antelope hunting down at Bachmeyer's, Scott Bachmeyer's, he actually had some, and I thought they were pretty sweet.
Yep.
And if you're gonna do a Euro and you got a nice buck, which I got 3 or 4 in my garage with the skull hooker, that's what I like to use now. If you got something you're not going to do a full shoulder on, I would 100% recommend these skull hookers. I mean, they'll probably run you like $35 at Shields or something, or you get them at Midway or where. I don't know if Brandon has them at Mandan, but
He might
they're
have,
awesome. And you come in black or brown, and they're real easy to mount. And they're adjustable, and you know that's one of the things I would recommend is a skull hooker. And what's your favorite one to go with, Clay? If you got just the Euro.
So I'm just doing the Euro. Actually, Eric, when I a lot of times I have Eric do it because he's got the stuff that he does a heck of a nice job. We do a lot of trading, so but he's my taxidermist, and he has hooks he sends along. So
really, okay, that's
yeah.
nice.
But yeah, the skull. I've seen the skull hookers. I think they're good. I mean, even our buddy Will, he's been making a few. It's really easy to make something for
the
that.
skull hooker, you can go left, and you can go left and right, and then you can make it go tilted up and down. I mean, it's got a lot. That's what I like about it. You know, I've had some of them where you just get like the deer antler, and you can screw it to the back of the skull, and but then you got to kind of wire it up, and
right.
You know, and I mean, you get like them cheap, you know, like the Allen, like the antler mounts with the fuzz there, or what do you call it?
That little piece
table.
of velvet, or you can get the leather. Yeah,
I mean, if you do shoot a dink like we were talking about, like a forker or something, then by all means. But if you get even a smaller one that you don't do a Euro, and I've got some of these too, that Mountain Mike's skull kit. That's, you know, that'll run you about $35 too.
Yeah.
But you cut the antlers off with your whatever your hand. Sorry, I like to use the Sawzall, and then you can screw them right to it. They look real. I mean, I did it. My buddies didn't even know.
They look really good, actually.
Yeah, they are pretty awesome. You can take your tag and stick it inside the skull in there. And
he took the tag off. Oh no!
You poached everything, you scumbag. No. But yeah, those are, and then you got the other ones too. Like I got some like that, like the walnut back. I actually have one of those, and the biggest buck I ever shot, a mule deer buck. And man, I don't know. I look at that all the time, and I'm like, I should just, I should actually shoot something for the pot, and then keep the cape for it so I can get it mounted, because that is a hell of a buck. But
yeah,
I mean, I agree with Eric. Don't get the knockoffs. They agreed, and I got some other ones off of Amazon that don't rotate, and it's supposed to just go in that hole in the back of the skull. No, the freaking antlers hit the wall. It was useless.
Yeah, no, you don't want the crap. I mean, you get what you pay for. It's plain and simple. That's the way it's always been.
Yeah, somebody told me they worked, and I was like, oh.
I mean, I used to do a lot of my own Euros, especially on the smaller deer. I was learning to see how to do them. It's a lot of work, especially if you don't do it right away. If you're going to do it right away. It is so much easier 100%. When they're warm. I mean, get it done.
Skinning the head's way easier and all that.
So many people they wait, and then I mean, I got
you might gag too when you're cleaning the skull out.
Well, I got a nice big buffalo skull that I got from my buddy Waylon Little Eagle, and I can tell you what, that is pretty cool, and I was very appreciative to get that. I mean, that's a big bull, but
they're coming, Kevin. Trust me.
Yeah, they're coming.
They're coming, baby. The muleys are moving east. You ain't gonna be disappointed.
Maybe they'll kick the Democrats out of your state. But
yeah.
But so I took that to Eric. Boy, Eric, you're getting a lot of free mileage here. That's okay with Grizz's Taxidermy, and he did just a fantastic job on that. And I'm glad I didn't even tackle it, because I know I wouldn't have done as good a job on that. So,
maybe if I give him with my cheater crossbow, we'll
there you go.
I'll have to go full mount on that and have Eric do it. I mean, that big 3x3's around and I get close to him, he's gonna get her. I'll promise you that.
You saw the one that I have hanging in the living room, right? Eric did that one, and when I got that one, I said I want something different, and that's when he did the wood on there, and we just did something a little different. And I just wanted to do that. He's got 2 others now, so now I'll have 3 animals down there right now.
So I haven't done a full head in a long time. The last time I did it, the guy I have do it here, it was probably, I think my buddy John had his big muley done 2 years ago. That was like $550. I mean,
Okay.
and this guy's done. I'm not going to give him a free plug, but he's done my velvet buck too, my whitetail, and I mean that thing's just still perfection yet. It's a lot of my buddies who go to the big name one here in Mandan, and they couldn't believe this guy did it. But no, now that I know Eric's, I mean, I get one next time I get one mounted, I'm for sure gonna have it done. Like my Euro's a buddy of mine just does them for me. So,
well, here's one that I got. So I didn't get nothing last year,
but
the year before I took that one, and that was another nice deer.
That's awesome. That's a hell of a whitetail.
And I was out and about and having some fun. And yes, I had my orange on, but I actually was laying behind a deer.
You need an orange flood hat, Clay.
I guess so. It was a long ways from the pickup. So I didn't want to lose the darn thing. So I threw the damn orange over the deer.
He had a big body on that whitetail too.
Oh, he was heavy. Just heavy body, just another nice deer. And he was 5x5. He scored out pretty nice too. Eric would have to remind me. I don't remember what it scored out.
I seen his mount. That was a nice deer. I know
this one hasn't been mounted yet.
He didn't. Oh, okay. I thought you had that one down there. Man, you got more whitetails than I thought then.
Yeah, I had some really nice ones. Well, I had Eric out here, and we were doing some coyote hunting and just kind of surveying, what was out there. Holy cow, we had some nice up and comers coming, and then EHD hit last year, and I mean wiped them out. Here's the one that, and this is a horrible picture, but that's the one that's on my wall.
Now I recognize. Yep, gotcha. That's still
another nice deer, but he was
and this
just
one
4x4.
Like the orange.
Huh?
This one's legal, like with the orange.
Yeah, well, I had my vest with me. That's in the pickup because again, I walked all the way back to the pickup, and I was like, I ain't freaking putting that on for a picture. So I've had some good deer here the last few years.
Well, Clay, time's eating up. Let's get on. We're going to hit on something else here. We kind of touched on last week. It was the NRA's 151st birthday, and Clay and I got to talking. As most people know, Clay and I are NRA pimps. A lot of people this is still complain about them. They're sellouts. We're not going to get into that. We kind of talked about maybe getting into a little history of the NRA here, didn't we, Clayton?
We did, and of course, I know quite a bit off the top of my head, but I did go and look up with some of it. So I'm going to give you. So I'm going to start out with right here. This is just the first page of I should turn the captions off just so we can see everything.
Sure.
Basically, what happened, we had that little thing called the War of Northern Aggression. Some call it the Civil War.
Yep.
And and you can read right there that the Colonel William C. Church and General George Wingate, they formed the NRA in 1871 basically because of the horrible marksmanship that they saw by the Union troops. I mean, let's face it, them Southern boys, they knew how to shoot and they didn't want to waste ammo, and they were good shots. So the primary goal of the NRA was to promote and encourage rifle shooting on a scientific basis. Oh, remember the science, right?
Yeah. I am the science.
And they got their charter, which was in the state of New York. Got to remember, back then, it wasn't what it was now.
Think.
Yeah.
One of the few mistakes the NRA's made.
Yeah, well, and this is why all them lawsuits that were happening were taking place in the state of New York.
Yeah.
Because that's where they are chartered and incorporated. That's where they have their founding documents at. And old Ambrose Burnside, a lot of people don't remember him, probably. He became the first president of the NRA. And I mean, let's see here if I got it.
He was a combat
right here, guys.
Yep,
right there. That's the picture of him. And he was one hell of a general, from what I understand. And he was the very, very first president of the NRA.
After that, he's actually was the governor of Rhode Island from 1866 to 1869, and then Rhode Island senator from 1875 to 1881 as well. So I mean, when I hear people's accomplishments in life like that, I mean, it makes me feel like I haven't done a damn thing in my life, actually. But it amazes me what some of these people did in their lives. But that's awesome.
It's funny. I was kind of, it was kind of nice to go down this history trail again, because I went and looked it up. 29 of the 67 presidents that have held president position at the NRA have either had a military rank of high, colonel, general. They've served in public offices, various ones, whether it be a senator or a governor. I mean, they have held a variety of public offices, or they've been held in very astute public recognition, like Charlton Heston. And by the way, Charlton Heston is still the longest serving president with 5 terms.
Really?
They actually changed the bylaws so that he could stay in there. I mean, that's how popular that man was. And he really brought the NRA back from the big battles that happened in the 90s with the assault weapons ban and Marion Hammer. And I mean, the NRA about split in half. It really did back then. And basically, Heston's the one that stepped up and made that call and brought everything back together. What I found, look at number 6 down there, though. Winfield S. Hancock. He was the Democrat presidential nominee in 1880. Think about that.
Huh?
A Democrat holding the president position of the National Rifle Association.
He was a big combat veteran and
Yes.
at Gettysburg, I think, and a couple, and another one too. I can't remember pivotal battles there.
And then if you just look 2 more down, well, you got Ulysses S. Grant. He was the 18th president of the United States. Now, I wouldn't say he was a great president but of the United States, but he was a pretty decent NRA president. He held that position. But if you go down that list, just look at that. Union general, presidential nominee, Union soldier. I didn't tell. There might be. Union general, brigadier general, Washington adjutant general. I mean, just U.S. senator from Iowa, U.S. senator from Wyoming, U.S. senator from lieutenant colonel. Just look at this, Assistant Secretary of War, Patrick Hurley. You just start going down. That's just the first 23 out of the 67 presidents.
That's awesome. So, and if we want to go through like presidents of the United States, obviously, Clay said, Ulysses S. Grant. We got, of course, Teddy Roosevelt, William Taft, which, I mean, nobody really knows much about him, but Dwight Eisenhower, great general, leader of our troops in World War II. JFK. What? JFK? Yeah, Clay, you got that picture of JFK?
Check this out. That's JFK with one of the first Colt AR-15s. And then, of course, you got that weapon of war over there, that crossbow.
Yep. What? Yeah, that's right.
And here's what it is. President Kennedy examining early Colt AR-15 in the White House Oval Office, April 19th, 1963. Wow, that was right before he was assassinated in November.
Yep. Same
His aide, Major General Ted Clifton, is holding an example of the CIA-developed crossbow. Think about that.
What? Unbelievable, right? Hey, you know what? Just to say something that's kind of ironic, that you said that the same year he was killed. He's got an M16 right there, a Colt, and but what was he killed with? He was killed with a bolt action Carcano.
Yep.
Another weapon of war.
Another weapon of war.
Yeah.
And remember, by this in 1963, the AR was not a weapon of war yet.
No,
that didn't happen until Ukraine.
Well, the Colt was a nom, so
the Colt M16 was, but I don't believe the AR-15 was.
No, that was You're right there.
The civilian model.
You're right. So a couple other things. I guess the NRA, according to Fox News, their story there, they still claim to have 5.5 million members, which I'm not sure is true. It maybe is, and they're not donating as much coin, and the NRA spending a lot of it in court cases, like you said, I think last week, defending themselves against
so I made a call because I knew we were going to be talking about this, and they're saying, membership saying that they might even be closer to 5.75 million to 6 million.
Okay.
They had a lot of membership come in, but like we talked before, the court cases, and guys, court cases are expensive, and if you are plastered with them, everyone thinks the NRA is this rich organization. They're not. They're very prudent, and they do what they do. But I'm telling you, they don't have these deep pockets that everybody thinks.
And Clay, why don't you hit on that like you did last week, and we were on Mitchell in the morning. That you were telling everybody about these key races that we lost.
Yeah, and they
He being Republican.
were not as involved. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but they just weren't
Mhm.
out there as being involved.
Mhm.
They maybe gotten involved. Maybe Kevin can give us some insight if they were doing anything in Pennsylvania, but I doubt it because Oz is not a pro-gun candidate.
No,
He
he
tried to
came
claim
out.
he was, but
Yeah. I mean, that's part
he's
of the reason he probably lost and was a bad candidate. I mean,
right.
but you got to
And
remember what. Hey, let me give you. Speaking of Oz, can I just give you a quick quote
yeah,
from his Fetterman? You know, the U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania.
and the
In
phallus was
April,
good.
he called NRA members, Clayton, you, me, and I'm quite certain some people listening in here. He called us the lunatic fringe of gun ownership.
Imagine
So,
that.
and guess what? There's people who think the NRA is a bunch of spineless, conforming losers who give our rights up, and Fetterman thinks we're the lunatic fringe. So that,
Yeah, well, it's like I always say, if we are what the Democrats and the liberals and well, let's just say the Democrat Communist National Party, because that's what they are. I don't really care if anyone
yep.
don't like that. That's what they are. But if we were the people that they say we are, we wouldn't have to deal with them because guess what? We'd probably just take care of it, wouldn't we? But we're not them people.
We probably would.
I
So
mean, that's just
speaking,
plain and simple.
the NRA is not spending any money, and they're just pouring it into Uncle Wayne's pockets. Why don't you show us what's going on in Georgia?
Well, yeah. So let me see here if I got this loaded.
And Georgia's race does matter, folks. I'm promise you it matters.
But you have to give me a minute here. Tell you what, let's
Yeah.
take a quick break and I'll get that
Okay.
loaded up for
Yeah.
you. Here we
Let's
go.
do it. Lauer Auto Repair, 309 South Washington Street. That's right here in Bismarck. Doug and the boys, that's a pro Second Amendment shop. Anybody out watching this show is pro Second Amendment. You don't want to give your money to somebody who's not pro Second.
Oh, all right. When I did that, well, that's okay. Sorry there. We were giving another plug for our sponsors down there, Blind Guy, and I hit the wrong button.
Doug's comment up there real quick.
Just as we were running his advertisement.
Yep. Yeah.
Fetterman right. Did Fetterman write that? Because I know he couldn't say it. Kevin says he just pretends he doesn't exist.
That's a good one, Doug. I like that.
All right, so now we're gonna. So this is now NRA. I agree with them. They feel that the Georgia race, even though it won't give us control of the Senate, it's important to have that 50-50 split and not have that one extra. So
right, because guess who's up in the Democrats for in 2 years? Cinema in Arizona,
yes.
and good old Joe Manchin, middle of the road Joe. We'll see.
Yeah,
So he's
I
gonna.
think he's gonna have a hell of a hard run. But
If they want to go far left on their votes and go with Joe and Cackleberry all the time, then they're going to be they might be in trouble for sure. So yeah, let's see what
this is a 1.5 million ad campaign that's going to take place between now and December 3rd. So here it is.
They think you've given up. They think you've surrendered. Washington liberals are celebrating because they believe the people of Georgia will not show up to vote in the runoff. Will you let liberals like Raphael Warnock and Joe Biden take away your gun rights? Show up, stand your ground. Defend freedom, defeat Warnock. Vote early or vote on December 6th for Herschel Walker. NRA Political Victory Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Damn, that makes me want to go down to Georgia and vote. I'm all fired up, man. Herschel played for the Cowboys too.
I don't follow foosball much, but but I did find out. Now I didn't learn this Sunday, but I heard the Vikings were 8-1. Did they win this week?
Ooh, looks like Cowboys went up there and just rolled them, baby.
Okay, that's okay. I don't follow it, but I mean, them Vikings, my dad's a big Vikings fan, and I don't even watch the Neilers, but all I can say is that I know that the Vikings history has not been great. So those got to be some of the most loyal fans I've ever seen.
Yeah. And then, Keith says he saw an anti-Walker ad and it was nothing but blatant lies. I believe that, Keith. I believe that 100%.
I have no doubt. That's what they're going to do. They're going to come out and they have way, way more money, guys. That's what. Just look at the money rolling in and where it comes in from. It ain't even from the state of Georgia. I mean, come on.
Yeah, most from Hollywood, who's always down there. Vikings will come back. Come on, Lynette. So Clay, the NRA-ILA, which is the Institute for Legislative Action, was created in 1975. So you got a little more insight on that for our listeners here?
Well, yeah. So let's see. I even had that. Let's see which one it is here. If I can
Clay worked for
remember.
the NRA, so he knows. I mean, I could do my spiel, but Clay's going to be way better at it than me here. So
Yeah, no, I just got to find the right. I thought I had it here. Oh, yeah, there it is right there. So here's the thing with NRA and ILA. So 1934, we all know that what happened in the 30s there was the NFA, National Firearms Act, right? Which that's why we have to get what we have for suppressors. That's why you have to have the $200 tax stamp. I mean, that was just a horrible piece of legislation too. They formed then the Legislative Affairs Division of the NRA, but they didn't do a direct lobby. That was more just keeping their members up to date, so that they could do their own thing. Because people actually were active back then, so they would call their senators and their reps. Well, after 1968, do you remember what happened in 1968? The Gun Control Act. And in the Gun Control Act of 1968, so a lot more bad things in there, that we lost a whole bunch of freedom in one big swoop again. Then they decided they better do something, and that's where they actually, in 1975, they formed the Institute for Legislative Action, otherwise known as the ILA. So when you see NRA, ILA, that's what that is. And let's face it, they have become the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I don't care what people say about Gun Owners of America. And yes, I'm a member, guys, of Gun Owners of America. I think they do a lot of good things. I think they are very, very effective at state levels. I know down in Georgia, they do a ton of stuff down in Georgia. So as far as that goes,
well, Fetterman didn't say the Gun Owners of America was the fringe. He said the NRA was, because we're still public enemy number one to them. So, I'm sorry, continue, Clayton.
No, NRA has been the most effective gun lobbying group in the United States Congress, hands down. I mean, yeah, you can go and find a whole bunch of stuff you think you hate, and you think they sold you out, but you might not even know what happened in the committee meetings. I do. Good examples: the 1994 assault weapons ban. Guys, yes, the NRA came forth and signed on to that after tons and tons of things that were happening. You got to remember, the Democrats from 1992 to 1994 owned Congress. They had the presidency, they had the Senate, and they had the House, much like what we've experienced the last 2 years, right? They were going to pass one no matter what, and we could not stop that.
Yep.
So they litigated it down to the point that they got the sunset of 10 years. That wasn't in the original bill. They made sure that they could get it so you at least could keep a 10-round mag. Do you know they didn't want you to have any 10-round mag? They wanted to go down to 5.
Yep.
They wanted to ban things like Ruger 1022s. Basically, any semi-automatic on there was banned. And they were able to get them kinds of things off the list. Yeah, they should be.
If you're listening on the podcast, I'm totally kidding. So,
and that's what happened, guys. NRA, then they got those concessions, and they basically told the guys that were with them that go ahead and vote for this thing now, and then in 10 years we'll deal with it. We didn't have no choice. We had zero choice.
Right, but they got something in there to get it out of there in 10 years, in which we did. Right. We got the House and the Senate, and George Bush was president.
And you remember what happened in 1994? The biggest swing for the first time, in 40 years, Republicans took the House.
And in the Senate, didn't they? I thought they took them both. Or was that 96 they got the Senate?
It could have been 96, okay. Honestly. I know they took the House.
I was fledgling political, man. Then I was more...
Well, I was a junior in high school then. So. But I can tell you right now, if it wouldn't have been for the NRA, you would have never, ever had those rights restored. But people cussed, and that's where the NRA almost split. That's what happened back then. But I can tell you right now, there was no other group, none, that could have fought that battle and come out the way we did. Bush got in 2000, and things started looking up, didn't they?
So you got to remember too, another president. You're speaking of that. Yeah, Brian Warner. That's why Biden keeps bringing it up. That's the last time he was coherent. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush first, if you remember, after the bombing in Oklahoma City, and then they were the ATF and all these guys were coming down on gun owners because that guy was a former. The guy who blew up the building was a former NRA member and said they weren't hardcore enough, which you hear a lot of people saying no. And Wayne LaPierre called them jackboots, and George Herbert Walker Bush, said, "Don't make me a lifetime NRA member anymore."
Yeah, I remember that. And well, now looking back, it doesn't surprise me.
I like broccoli, though he doesn't.
All the Bushes. And granted, I voted for his son. We didn't have a lot of choice there. I mean, it was either Al Gore or it would have been.
Yeah.
That would have been.
I mean, you got to do that. So we got off on. I got off on JFK there. Let me just finish the other presidents here who were life members. So after JFK, when Clay put that out, I think they actually gave him that M16.
They did. In fact, the NRA used to give the president a firearm every single time. Mm-hmm. But then when these Democrats they gave Trump one.
Yeah, what do you do? I'm going to melt this down and make a peace bench out of it in the park.
I don't remember when, but I imagine it probably was after Clinton that they quit. It almost seems like they gave Clinton one, but I'd have to honestly look that up.
I used to shoot my 22 down Arkansas all the time.
That's great.
Yeah. So after JFK, then Nixon was the next lifetime NRA member, then Ronald Reagan, and then, like I said, Herbert Walker Bush. He was the last one until Donald J. Trump was a lifetime member. He was the next president who was from Bush. So, and we all know Bush hates DJT. The whole Bush family does. Very low energy.
Very, very low energy.
But yeah, it's actually another stat here. It says about 20% of U.S. presidents have been NRA members, not necessarily life members, but NRA members. And
yeah,
I guarantee you I wasn't one of them.
No, he wasn't. That I do
I'm too busy chasing Monica around and pay that $1 fee.
He at least could have picked a good-looking gal. I don't know why he goes for them ugly ones back then.
Yeah, Lynette's got it nailed right here, too. Today, JFK would be a Republican. Easily. The Democrats would detest JFK today.
JFK could not get he couldn't even win the nomination in the Democrat.
No, he'd be like Tulsi Gabbard. They'd run him out on a rail, which she's pretty much a full-blown right-winger now. I love that.
Yeah, they sure turned on her, too, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, honestly, Clay, when she was trying to get the Democrat nominee there, now she was against AR. She thought that was assault. I mean, she was in the military too. Yeah. She was against that and a few other ones, and I was like, man, I seem pretty reasonable. And then she kind of started hanging around more right wing people, and then the common sense kicked in a little more. And not only is she beautiful, she's got a lot of common sense, and I agree with her on a lot of things now.
And if you're good looking, it's hard to be a Democrat. I ain't seen a good looking one yet.
Caramon, I'm an independent.
Yeah, well.
You know what? Yes. Should we do the? I had a brain fart there. Should we do the happy ending?
We can if you want. And I know why he wants to do this, guys. I made him a new intro, so
yeah.
Here we go.
Clay cracked me up. I had tears in my eyes when I saw it.
We are going to go to the new. Well, it ain't a new segment. We do have a new one coming up next week, but here is the happy ending of the week. Something we just love to do.
That's awesome. Pretty good. I love that guy.
What is our happy ending of the week story this week?
All right, our happy ending story of the week here is it's coming from Washington State. So a rideshare driver in Seattle, which I don't know what a rideshare is. It must be like Uber or something.
I suppose, yeah.
The headline is he picked up a woman trying to escape a pimp, and he ended up with a shootout. So this woman, she had a broken ankle from jumping from this third-story window. Okay, this was last Saturday. In an effort to escape William Burt, a pimp, Burt was able to recapture this gal. She jumped out of a third-story window, broke her ankle. He went down, grabbed her, right?
Okay.
And held her at gunpoint and said, you can leave, but only after I knock all the teeth out of your head. Sounds like a real good guy, right? So somehow this gal escaped again with a broken ankle, topless, ran across the 6-lane highway. And eventually she was in the middle of this highway, right? And while this rideshare driver picks her up, and lo and behold, here comes old Bert. He's looking to knock some teeth out yet because she's getting away. And turns out the rideshare driver had his own gun, pulls it out on Bert because Bert pulled one. Well, they had a shootout, and the guy got away from Bert with the woman because he had a gun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out they arrested good old Bert here, the old teeth smasher, $750,000 bond. But the happy ending part of that is it could have been a fairy tale ending if you'd actually shot old Bert in a pump house. But the happy ending is he saved this gal who was about to get all her teeth knocked out and had her ankle broke already from Bert because he had his own gun and he used it to fight this jerk off, this pimp from this gal, which I'm sure he'd have killed her. I mean,
well, you know, he would have. Like Travis says, sometimes you got to knock some teeth out.
Yeah. Oh, where the heck's he been?
I don't know. He's coming out late. But
Doug likes happy. He said he's a pimp too. Well, you're out there by Seattle, Trav. You better watch your teeth.
I hear Lauer. I hear Lauer Auto Repair. They sponsor happy endings. I don't know.
The happy ending is if you go to Lauer and your car doesn't run good, when you leave, it purrs like a kitten. So that's your happy ending there when you leave Lauer Auto Repair.
Oh my god!
Oh heck yeah! I love it.
No,
I love it. So Clay, I want to add something real quick here, kind of off topic. We had this attack in Idaho, right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, some crazy son of a gun murdered four college-age kids, and with a knife, he stabbed them. And how many did we have killed in Colorado there with this guy at the gay nightclub?
Oh, is it 4 or 5 now?
Okay, 5. Right. You're right. It's right around there. And but guess what? Here's what I'm getting at. Biden immediately came out. We need more gun control in Colorado.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Colorado has damn near everything you want.
Yeah.
You know, red flag laws. How'd that work? This guy was threatened to blow people up with a bomb.
Yeah. Did you see the story on that?
Yeah, the guy's he's a nutcase. He's a nutcase.
They have all these red flag laws, and there was some senator whack dipshit out there.
10 rounds or less.
Basically, he thinks, well, we got to have more red flag laws. Like, you have the strictest red flag law you could probably have, and keep it.
They're proven. I mean, they don't work. They don't work. So my point was, I didn't hear Biden or any Democrat come out and say we need to ban knives now because I killed just as many people as the guy's AR did in Colorado.
Yep. I like Kevin says, assault knife.
Yeah. Well, I seen they said it was a K-bar. They think it's a K-bar knife because the Marines use a K-bar knife. So.
Yeah, I heard that, Lynette. Now the guy in Colorado is claiming he's a binary and he wants to be addressed as they and them and whatever other mental problem he's got. So I guess it kind of proves my point that this is a mental illness problem. And so being gay and being whatever you think you are, the guy, doesn't fit their narrative. So I noticed that the stories are dropping off.
Oh, yeah. Right. He was a right winger killing gay people.
Right. And now it's like, oh, wait a second. Now it's a guy who has a mental problem. And now he went and did something that a guy with a mental problem would do. And he probably should have been getting help for it. But nope, they're accepting it and they're pushing it within the mainstream society that this is just normal behavior.
Yeah. I mean, we got comments. Yeah. We got comments pouring in here. They blame Tucker and Boebert, which they did. The Colorado DA didn't prosecute him for his bomb threats. Biden wears a diaper. I mean, probably 2 of them actually. Probably. Yeah. Keith, they were going after the ROTC kids. I mean, yeah. They must be these military people.
I like what Doug has up here, and he's right. The guy had a record, guys.
Big time. If you look him up.
Nothing. He went and he had bomb threats, and they didn't do nothing. So
his mom said to come take his guns away.
Yeah, and they did nothing.
This isn't
a gun problem.
That's why liberals want to take guns away, Clay, because they can't control themselves with it. Well, some can, very small sliver of them. Most of them, because they can't control their anger, that's why they don't think anybody else can and should have them.
Well, and they want to control us. You cannot control a populace if they're armed. Every single populace that's ever given up their arms, their freedoms, what happens? They just start going down that road of socialism right into communism just as fast as they can. Because ask the Jews if they want to get rid of their guns. How'd that work out last time?
Yeah, Trav, they said they need more gun laws. They do out in Washington. I agree. Oh, Trav.
So before we go, a couple things, though, I want to mention. First, I want to play this Trump ad if it'll go. I don't know if anyone has seen it. I just thought it was a good ad put together, and I'm sure that we're going to see things start ramping up. So let's quick play this, and then we got an announcement about next week.
Okay.
Make an entrance. Make a run. And then make history. Make a difference. Make good on your word. Make it big league. But most of all, make it great again. Trump.
All right. So there's a reason I played that other than I'm going to vote for him. Did you look at the pictures he had in there in the clips?
Yeah.
What president have you ever seen do that? I mean, this man come in, give up a life of luxury. He didn't have to run for president twice. He just did it because he had a love for the country and hated what he was seeing. And I mean, he went out there and he created the environment so that we could have a flourishing economy. I mean, we got rid of regulation. We started producing gas and oil. And of course, guys, yes, he made some screw ups when it comes to the Second Amendment, but after that, he figured it out. I think he just had some bad advice. Remember, that happened right after he took the office, essentially. And I'm telling you right now, guys, that's a pretty powerful ad for just a short little clip. And it shows, I mean, you're never, ever, ever going to see that with Beijing Biden. Ever.
No Democrat going to do that.
No Democrat out there because they don't run.
Yeah. You know what? Well, first of all, my dad did tell Marty he loves that Trump flag I gave him.
Okay.
And Marty's not. He may listen to a podcast he ain't on night, but second of all, good friend of mine organized a Trump boat parade. I know he's going to listen to this. If he's not now, he's going to listen to the podcast. Get one of them babies going this summer and next summer.
It's going to be huge. And I'll have to come up and I'll come to that one. I went to the one on Lake Sakakawea with Bob and a bunch of, and I mean, that was huge, that one too.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I'd love to come join you guys up there.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't care if you do it, we'll come right on. I'm guessing your pontoon will be out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I won't pull mine up there then. So Kevin, you're right. This time, I don't think Trump's taking any prisoners this time. When he comes in there, I think there's going to be a lot of pink slips handed out the first day. I have no doubt. He's going to fire people left and right.
I mean, you hire me and fire somebody because I'll promise you I'll do a better job than the leftist turd you fire.
Absolutely. So we had one little announcement that we're going to bring in. So it got us to thinking when we were talking about NRA presidents and stuff. And then we were kind of talking about Joe Foss. For those who don't know, he served as a South Dakota governor. He was a World War II hero. And I mean, that guy was a badass. I mean, that's just the only.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of come up with something. We're going to try it next week. We're going to start having the Midwest badass of the week. And I think our first one's going to be Joe Foss. So
absolutely.
We'll try to find a few clips. And like I said, I never got the pleasure to meet the man. I know that he served as the president of the NRA. He was the American Football, wasn't the American Football League then. What was it called? AFC Conference.
Yep.
He was the president of the AFC for a while. I mean, that guy, when you read the things he did, yeah, like you said, it kind of makes you go, man, I'm really kind of, I'm not holding my water here. But he was an amazing man. And so we're going to start trying to feature that. If you guys have anybody you want to see us check into, let us know. It's not limited to North Dakota. We'll probably look for within the 5-state area though at first.
Midwest. I mean, that's because we're 701. Hey, man. I mean, or Eastern Montana, and there's all. I don't know if we're gonna do it weekly. We were talking maybe bi-weekly. We'll see how it goes. We'll run it past you guys next week. See what you think, and
yeah, we might not do it every week
because there's a lot of badasses that were in the Midwest. For sure.
Oh yeah, there is. Oh yeah,
So,
there is.
Dave Weigel says, I'd be a little more for Trump if he just come out and admit he had been given bad info on the clot shot. If nobody knows what the clot shot is, it's the vax.
China virus shot.
Yeah. I agree with you, Dave. I think Trump's got to come out and swallow his pride on a couple things if he wants to win some people back over. I mean, I'm not saying Republicans, but independents. I know I can't stand it, but there's some things he's got to do different. There's no doubt about it. I mean,
it's a different race.
I'm on his wagon no matter what. If he gets a nomination, I mean, I'll promise you I'm going to be talking Trump. I'm going to have his signs in my yard. And
I already got mine. I've had them since. Guys, I've had 2024 flag and signs in my yard since 2020.
It was one of my favorites. So
yeah, but I was never for that shot. I never believed it was a vaccine because it wasn't.
Right.
It didn't
my
even
blood's
qualify
still clean.
Yep. Well, we're pure bloods now. I actually heard that term the other day. They're starting to call us pure bloods. It's like, wow. So now we have a term. But I have never taken that shot. I don't need it. I don't even take a flu shot. I tried them when they came out. What a joke. It worked.
I never got that either. I mean, I'm not against it. If you want to get it, but don't come barking at me and tell me I didn't. I can handle the flu yet.
I'll use my God-given immunity and try to take care of it first. Plain and simple. But yeah, I think you're right. He's going to have to. I'd like to see Trump come out and say, you know what? I took a lot of bad advice. I mean, he had Fauci up there for Christ's sakes. Thank goodness that guy's leaving. But I hope the Republicans go after him like a bad habit.
Yeah, they need to. I guess we'll see what's going to happen. But
I guess that's pretty much what we had on a wrap for the show tonight, guys. We covered the two main subjects we wanted. And Eric, I'll get a hold of you if you want to come on and help us out talking a little bit about more in depth on what a taxidermy piece needs to be, how it needs to be taken care of. I think it'd make a great, at least a great segment on the show.
Yeah. I'd love it. That'd be awesome. That's
because we can also talk furs too. We got a lot of coyote and fox hunting coming up. Well, there's gonna be a lot of trapping going on, things like that. So
yeah.
So
I guess don't forget. Thanks, Waylon. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Amelia, my cousin. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Just remind everybody, don't forget this Friday, KFYR, 8:40 a.m. Clay and I are going to be on. It's not Mitchell in the morning show, but it's not going to be Mitchell.
We're going to be with Mike Wagner, I believe.
Yep, Mike Wagner. And Clay and I'll have we got something lined up, so tune in,
There's a ton of stuff out there.
Yeah, I'm going to be heading back to the farm. I'm going to get some more video, check out our stuff on YouTube and our website, gunsonthe701.com, and it's going to be fun. And next week, like I said, Clay's he's got the American badass, Midwest badass coming up. Thanks, Kevin. Later, Keith.
We'll see you, Keith. Stop in if you're down here this week.
Yeah, just make sure you tune in Friday. Mitchell in the morning, 8:40 a.m. KFYR 550 a.m. The North voice of the Northern Plains, and make sure when you visit our sponsors, you tell them you heard them on Guns in the 701, and they'll appreciate that. And we'll appreciate it because it makes our life a lot easier, and we got our sponsors on here. So can't say thank you enough to them. And we can't say thank you enough to everybody who's tuned in every week and telling everybody about our show. We really appreciate that, and we need you guys to do that to keep this baby rolling. But so... Well, Clayton's back. I was just going to check out, but all right, Clayton, if you want to give him the send off, I'll just say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Appreciate what Thanksgiving's about and where we live, because that's what it's all about. That this is the greatest country in the history of the world. I mean, we got bad stuff going on right now, but I'd still rather be no other place than right here.
Absolutely, and just to build on that, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Go out there and remember that all that we have and all that we do is because of God. And Jesus Christ was our Savior, and that's why we can do what we do. Just remember, this is in His hands, as bad as it looks. There's been bad times throughout history, and we always pull through it. And that's what you got to do. Have your belief and pray hard about it and thank him for everything you are blessed with. That's what Thanksgiving is about. The side effect is you get to have a great meal, spend time with your family. So I would encourage everybody to get out there, see your family, hug your loved ones, and just enjoy a great Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So,
all right, Clayton, I'll take over with Clayton. With that, I'm going to do it, Clayton. Guns in the 701. We're out. We appreciate you guys. Keep your powder dry. We'll see you Friday on KFWR 550 at 8:40. And if you miss us next Wednesday right here, 6 Mountain, 7 Central.